Should I start the webinar?
Let's stream it first and then we'll start. Let's make sure it's on Facebook because I don't see it yet.
Okay, for me it says it's on Facebook.
Great, let's start the webinar.
Okay.
Well, greetings, everyone. This is Joyce Davis. I'm the president and CEO of the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg, and this is another Travel Live. We do these Travel Live programs to kind of bring the world to us when we can't quite get to the world or to help. We started these with the COVID when we shut down, when people couldn't travel, but they still wanted a slice of the universe to at least connect with. But today we're delighted to have Mary Gabriele, who is our program manager. I was going to say new, but she's not so new anymore. She's been here quite a few months with us, but she's going to share with us um, pictures and information about a fascinating trip that she just took to Sweden. Hello, Mary.
Hello. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and I can't wait to talk about Sweden.
Well, good. We're going to jump right into it. And of course, anyone who is joining us, we encourage you to put some of any questions you may have or comments in the chat we have there. I'll also be trying to monitor our Facebook. But for now, Mary, start off. And I know you have some photos to share with us, but start off by simply telling us where you went, when you went, and why you went to Scandinavia.
So I went to Stockholm, Sweden, and I went on October 1st, and I went for about a month. And I wanted to go there because I just love Europe. I love European cities. Um, and Stockholm was always on my bucket list. So I thought it would be time to mark it off. And I actually went there to volunteer in a hostel in Stockholm. And I did it through an app called World Packers. And this app is you have to join for $40, but then you get like a month or a year subscription, and it has a bunch of different volunteer opportunities that you can do all around the world, North America, Asia, obviously Europe. And you volunteer in a location, and usually you get free accommodation. And then also sometimes they give you free breakfast, free lunch. So it's a really great way to travel cheaply, especially post grad. So that was the main reason why I was doing it to volunteer abroad.
So you have to pay to get there, but once you're there, you generally have your accommodations because you're volunteering. I think you volunteered at a hostel, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And so that now the one question that I think many people will have, Mary, is how did you know this was safe? How did you know you wouldn't be abducted or something? Tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. I did a lot of research beforehand, making sure that this was a actual thing, an actual app, not a scam. I
Right.
actually know one of my friends who went to Alaska on the app before me, so she had a great experience volunteering on a farm there. So I knew that it was an actual app. I also talked with their customer service representatives. They're super nice. And on the app, you can also see reviews from people that have done the experience before you, and you can actually talk to them. So that was a good way of knowing that it was a real thing and not a scam.
Yeah, because that's important. You don't just look at anything, but you've done your research, you did your due diligence, and you knew that it was legit. And now you've come to tell us about what it really was like. So we are excited. I'm sure a lot of young people who see this will be excited to learn about it. So let's see some of those photos, and then we'll talk. You'll talk us through it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Oh, and I see a question. Hermine wants to know how can she get information about the app, and also is this just a thing for young people, or can people of a certain age also participate?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can put the information on our website for the app for we have a travel page. I can post it there. And I believe the app is open for people of any age, but sometimes in the specific host postings, they say from like 21 to 30 people to 30 only,
Mhm.
but it differs on where you go.
Right, right.
Um,
So you'd have to look and see, and also just for you, so you'll all know, we will be posting this video on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. I mean, it's already on Facebook, but on our website with a link, and we'll provide information and can take questions at either of those places. But tell us where this is. Is this where you were, the Stockholm Hostel?
yes, so this was I took this my first night there. As you can see, it's very raining. It's
Yeah.
very rainy. It was rainy a lot in Stockholm, but this is the hostel that I volunteered in. It was different from your traditional hostel because all of the rooms are private, but they still had that hostel feel. Like it had bunk beds
Mm.
and they just gave you like the sheets and your towels. It wasn't made, it wasn't like a hotel. But it was nice that the rooms were all private, so I wasn't sharing with any of the guests. I was just sharing with the other volunteers that also were going through this program. And we had our own bathroom too, so that was good.
Own bathroom too, yeah, because frequently you do have to share baths in these hostels. This looks like a pretty nice hostel, though. I mean, it looks. I mean, nothing unclean about it, right?
No, and I was the one doing the cleaning, so if it was unclean, that was my job.
So, were you part of the staff, or were you the staff for that week or so?
I
Those
was
weeks.
part of the staff. Their staff was about, it was really small, only 3 people on staff, but the hostel only had about 33, I think it was, rooms, so they didn't need a big staff at all.
Okay. Well, let's see some more pictures, and I'm wondering just how hard the job was for you. Was this a really arduous? Did you have to work in the morning, early morning, late at night, or whatever?
Yeah, so my schedule, I worked mostly in the morning from like 10 to 3:30 and we just did the beds, we cleaned the bathrooms. By the end of the shift, I was definitely sweating. I had to take a break. I was like, wow, this is actually a lot of work. Um, and then I also did some night shifts just doing reception.
Mm.
But it was really easy. It didn't have a big learning curve. And here are my two other volunteers with me. I actually didn't know that there was going to be other volunteers going with me when I first booked it, but then they um, came last minute on the app, which I was really excited about because after like a week and a half of just yourself, it gets kind of lonely and I was going a little crazy. Um, but here, this is actually in the ABBA Museum in Stockholm. Um, the one on the left is Petra. She's from the Czech Republic. And then the one in the middle is Fadia, and she's from Quebec. And we also had another volunteer, Jessica, from Venezuela. So it was really great to form those bonds with people from across the world. And we got super close. And I'm actually visiting one of them in Philadelphia next week.
Ah, nice, nice. And what's that cooking on the left?
So that is arepas that Jessica from Venezuela made us for my birthday. So we got to like experience each other's culture and share our culture with each other, which I thought was so fun and interesting just to talk about what's different, what's the same with each other.
And what did you share? Hamburgers, Mary?
Yeah. They were asking me about our holidays, so I was really excited to tell them about Groundhog's Day
uh,
and Punxsutawney Phil, and they thought that was funny.
yeah, that's particularly Pennsylvania too, right?
Yep, yeah.
Well, let's see some other photos. They look like fun ladies too. Oh, wow.
So I'm definitely a foodie. So the food was probably my favorite part in Stockholm.
Mm,
One of the unique things in Sweden is that they really love their candy. They even have a special day of the week where just like everyone buys their candy, and every grocery store has a giant wall of these candy bins. So
good.
that was excellent. They were mostly gummies, but everyone eats the candy. It's really great that they have a culture around it. And on the left here, those are Swedish meatballs. You probably have them in IKEA, but these were much better than IKEA's meatballs. And they're traditionally served with the red lingonberries, which are sweet. And then these are cucumbers with vinegar in them and mashed potatoes.
Very good, very good. And you say, the candies do, or do they serve as dessert, or what is this at the top? Kanelbuller. What is that? Kanelbuller? How do you say it?
I'm not great at pronunciations, so you probably are saying it better than me.
Uh,
Um, But that is, they have a time of day called fika, and that's where everyone kind of just stops doing everything and goes to a cafe and gets a pastry and a coffee.
wow.
And their famous pastry is this cannabular.
Mhm.
I don't know how to say it, but it's a cinnamon bun, and then that's just sugar on the top. Or they also have a cardamom bun, which is the same thing with cardamom. So I love the cafe culture there, just to take a break from your work, go to a cafe, sip some coffee, and get a pastry. And
You know,
this is an ex
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this is an example of another pastry. This is a princess cake,
Ooh,
and
great.
it was my birthday over there, and they said that this is a traditional birthday treat that you get, so I got this princess
Oh,
cake.
it looks so good. Is that pudding, kind of pudding and cake in the middle and all of that, and that little sauce at the bottom, right? A red, is that raspberry sauce or?
Yeah, it's raspberry and then whipped cream and then
Mm.
marzipan is the green on top.
Oh, I'm really hungry. But I'll tell you this, this tradition that you see in many of the European countries of pausing during a day, taking a break. I mean, not just lunch, but another break, right? Because there's still a lunch break. This is just a pause, right? So for mental health, that's a great thing.
Yeah, I love their work-life balance in Europe, just in general. They really take time for themselves and don't overwhelm them with work, which I see a lot of us doing in America.
Oh, very true. But I will tell you the other question I do have, and maybe you have some other photos. I mean, you're talking about a lot of heavy, I mean, candy and sweets and all this. Are these people as fat as we are in the United States?
I wouldn't say so. I think it's because a lot of European cities, including Stockholm, it's very walkable.
Yes.
So they walk everywhere. I can show you some of the architecture in Stockholm. This
Yeah.
is just the nature around Stockholm. So there's so many places to walk and just admire the beauty of Sweden while also being in a city. So you definitely get your exercise in walking everywhere.
That's what's so wonderful. If you can walk and get your exercise, you can eat whatever you want, right? Including the candy.
Yeah. This is on one of their islands. It's like a museum island. It has all the museums on it. And I was just so taken aback when I was looking around and a deer, if you see in this big photo, is
Yeah.
just walked right in front of me. I'm sorry, that's a dog barking if you can hear it.
All right. Oh, it looks really nice. Real, although it does look grayish. I mean, it looks gray and overcast, right? Because we are in the rainy season, I guess, right? Going into winter.
Yeah, it was a little bit rainy and also it got dark earlier.
Uh-huh.
So, it was gray, but we also did have some of those beautiful days.
Yes, yes. Beautiful. Was it cold in October?
So when I got there, it was probably like 50s. And then, sorry, should I go try to calm the dog down? Can
No,
you
it's
hear
okay.
me?
We can't hear it too much. Go ahead. We hear you
Oh,
better.
okay, sorry. Um, when I got there, I was wearing like a fall jacket, but then when I left in November, it was pretty cold. I had to wear a hat and gloves and everything.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see some other photos. Oh, the sub.
So this is the subway, which I loved their public transit. I included this random picture because it's so clean. Like there's not any trash on the ground at all. Um, and just like on the tracks as well, there's no trash, which compared to New York and Philly, it's so different.
Yes.
Um, and then also every subway station is basically an art gallery. They even have tours of the subway stations in Stockholm.
Mm.
So this was just a random subway station, and they had like I don't know if it was actual like Roman ruins, but it was just like on the subway for everyone to look at, which I love that they have public art that's easily accessible.
It does look quite shiny and clean. I'll tell you, did you see people regularly cleaning the place? Like, I mean, or
Now that I think about it, no, I really didn't. So I think people just like threw away their trash and respected others and wanted to see their city clean, which I came back to the US and I was kind of disappointed and sad that why don't we do that? We need to treat our cities better.
good point. That's a very good point. And that's what you learn that there's just different cultures toward and attitudes toward this in different places. It really is.
Mhm. And then, so this is some of the architecture. You can see this is a main walking street, and
Hmm.
this is in Gamla Stan, the old town part of Stockholm. And on the bottom right, that's the skinniest, smallest street in all of Sweden. So people were walking back and forth. There was a stoplight on it, so you knew when to walk each direction, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, because two people can't really fit together.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh,
Mhm.
wow. I love the different colors. I think that's really quite lively looking, you know.
Yeah, I just love the old architecture
Mhm.
because it's such an old city and country. The United States is such a new country in comparison, so I love the architecture.
And I'll tell you another thing I'm noticing again, how clean. I mean,
Yep.
it just looks like it's just spotless.
Yeah, definitely the top right picture. There's like no trash
Mhm.
anywhere. Not even a trash can. It's
Right.
crazy.
Really something. But I mean, also, sometimes the streets look just a little grimy from mud or anything. You don't even see that there. Maybe in the heart of winter you'll see it, but not now.
True. Yeah. So this is the ABBA Museum. This is one of the reasons why I really wanted to go to Stockholm. My family, we all are obsessed with ABBA. We love ABBA. It's been on my mom and I's bucket list to go to the ABBA Museum.
Uh,
So here's us at the museum. It was an excellent museum. They had the history of ABBA, some interactive displays, karaoke, got to dance with their avatars. And Stockholm is just filled with excellent museums. I tried to go to like one like every other day, but I didn't even get to finish them all.
mm.
There's just so many great museums and culture.
And are the museums free or do you have to pay? Many cultures they will make it free for people, at least through certain hours.
So a lot of them you did have to pay, but I know the art museums on Thursdays they were free, so they did have certain hours which were free.
Okay. And of course, generally things are very reduced for students, though, too. Did you notice if there were reductions for students and for older people?
Yeah, they had student rates and they had rates that if you I think it was like 60 or above, it was also reduced as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm. I
Wow.
also saw this is just a thing that I remembered at one of the museums, they had free entry for asylum seekers, which I've never seen before.
Oh, that's wonderful. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what a great that's I love that. What a great heart, right? Did you notice there were a lot of refugees in or immigrants in the area in Stockholm?
Um, I didn't particularly notice it, just like a bunch of different people from different cultures just working there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Great. Now, just as an aside, how is it a young person like you got interested in ABBA? Was this your parents or what?
Yeah, it was my parents. I like grew up watching Mamma Mia and like we watched it on all our road trips. So I just became like it's nostalgic for me. And then I just
Oh,
started to listen to their other music and yeah, I really liked it.
well, great. That's great.
And this is more museums. This is the Vasa Museum with the big ship. That's a I think it was 17th century warship that they made it, but it was too top heavy, and in the harbor it sank. Like didn't even set sail really, and it sank, and then it was missing for a long time, and then they found it and they restructured it, and this is all inside a giant museum that you can walk around and see this really old warship, which I thought was just so interesting to see something that was at the bottom of the ocean for such a long time. And they also showed how they resurfaced it as well.
Wow. Is it made out of wood? Is that it? Wood
Yeah,
together?
it
Uh-huh.
was wood.
But it was too top heavy, you said. I'm wondering, was it too top heavy just on the surface there or just the flags or stuff hanging from the top?
I think it was kind of like it was like that shape.
Maybe, yeah, so maybe,
So
yeah, it was the shape of it. Yeah.
yeah, and the cannons were too far, too
Uh-huh.
high up,
Right.
so it flipped over. And people actually died because they couldn't get out of the ship in time.
Uh,
Um,
so
yeah.
they died in the harbor probably. Oh.
Yep.
And there
Yeah.
was a so there's tales and everything that associated with this, right? That they tell, right?
Yeah, they told stories of, I guess the king knew that it wasn't really great to set sail, but he had a deadline that he needed to get the ship to set sail, so they just did it anyways, hoping for the best, and obviously it didn't work out.
Did anybody suffer? Did any stories of people suffering repercussions from this?
Um, I
Heads were off with some people. I don't know.
yeah, I think they, if I remember correctly, I think they couldn't pin it on any specific person. They did try to, but I don't
Ah,
think anyone like went to jail or anything for it.
very interesting. Do you know how many people this ship would? It's generally men. How many men it would hold?
I'm not sure about that one.
It
It
looks
was
like it.
really big though. It was huge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Great. And what's the Modern Art Museum? Tell us about that.
This was just a picture of, this is a map of Stockholm, which I thought was cool in the Modern Art Museum. They actually just opened a section of the museum that has like a slide going out the front of it so people can be on a slide in the museum. But it had a lot of interactive art. There was one that looks like a pool of tar and it was just like bubbling up. It was really
Ooh.
cool. And I went to this one on a Thursday, so it was free. That was nice.
Now tell us what's the crown for? And then that gives us tell us a little bit about the government there. I don't know, is there still a king of Sweden or anything?
Yeah, so this is the crown of the Swedish royal family. It was on a bridge that connected one of the many islands of Stockholm.
Mm-hmm.
And Sweden does have a king, but he doesn't have any really formal power. They're ruled by a prime minister, and they have a unitary parliamentary constitutional monarchy.
Oh,
So they
okay.
have a parliament, they have general elections every 4 years, and then the parliament elects the prime minister as well.
Yeah. I hate stereotypes, but the stereotype that I'm thinking would be that this is a very politically engaged culture, that they will actually go to vote. I don't know if you know anything about that. I could be wrong too. It could be they're as apathetic as Americans are.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably right. I think the stereotype's right. Um, Just because there's a lot of young Swedes there as well, and I feel like they're just generally more politically active. Um, so yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the heir to the throne is the princess. I forget her name, but she's the heir to the throne is gonna be a woman, which will be cool.
Hmm. Wow, I just looked this up just so we could make sure we're not spreading misconceptions. And I see it from Statista. It says the voter rate has never been lower than 80% in
Wow.
Sweden. So there you go. There you go. That stereotype holds for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Well, also they do have a reputation, Sweden as well as Denmark and Finland as well, for having excellent education systems.
Mhm.
That and I mean we talk about socialists, but I believe Sweden is considered a socialist country, is it or is it not? I don't.
Um,
Sometimes it changes with the election because there's a socialist party and all, but I think they have a system where they make sure that people have basic needs met, and but that means the taxes are very high as well.
yeah, I know they have free healthcare. Um,
Mm.
and I don't know if they have free college. They might. I don't want to spread misinformation.
Yep. Right,
But
right.
their education system, it's 10 years of like just normal schooling, and then most students can go to a 3-year secondary school if they choose to, which is kind of like another form of high school. And then I heard that about like 1/3 of the youth go to a form of like a college or a university.
I was just reading this too. It says, no, Sweden is not a socialist country, but a capitalist one with a comprehensive welfare state. So but that, while it's historically has high taxes and extensive social services, the government does not own the means of production, which is a defining feature of socialism. So it takes care of its people. It has a generous welfare state, but does not really take over the businesses and that kind of thing. Um, it maintains a state with extensive, yeah, universal health care and education, all
Mhm.
universal and pre-funded by high taxes. That's interesting. It's just a different attitude toward your responsibility towards your neighbors, basically.
Yeah. I actually it's one of the ranked happiest countries in the world. A lot of the Nordic countries are ranked the happiest countries in the world because their citizens are cared for and
Yeah,
provided for.
yeah. Well, do you have some other photos? Let's see. These are really not.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just more of the nature in Stockholm. The top right is a restaurant where, if you're a cook, where Hasselback potatoes were made. So that was
Oh.
really good. Um, and then the other photos are in Skansen, which is a nature park. They had a section that was an old part of Sweden. They made it look how it was um, like 100 years ago, or maybe like 200 years ago. But it was really rainy and a lot of stuff were closed. So I would probably recommend to do it in the summer if you went. And then on the bottom right, I believe, is like a midsummer pole. So they have their midsummer celebrations, which I thought was really interesting and cool.
Now, what's that I see in the top picture? There's a castle back there, or is that a church? What is that back there with the steeples?
That's actually the Nordic Museum.
Okay,
hmm
it looks really all
I
the.
might have some pictures. No, I don't. But it was another really great museum that just had a
Mhm.
history of the Nordic countries.
Okay, it looks really interesting. But I'll tell you, this does look like it was a kind of dreary weather time to visit, right?
Yeah, when my parents they visited at the end of my stay. It rained like every single day. So I felt really terrible because I had pretty good weather up until they came, of course.
When I was young and I first started traveling, I always wanted to travel at the cheapest time. And this is generally October is the cheapest time for you to travel to October, November. But it also, the benefit of it is that you have fewer tourists. You really get the feel of what it's like to be in the place as opposed to the summer tourism season when lots of people are about. So, I still would
Yeah.
recommend it because you're getting just a sense of what it's really like to live there.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the times I questioned what this would look like with a whole bunch of tourists in it when I
Yes.
was somewhere where it just had few people. So I was really grateful for that. So I would recommend traveling on the off-tourist seasons.
Yeah.
My next photo. So this is a Swedish sauna culture, and they have this culture of going into a sauna, and then immediately after they go into the cold water.
Don't say it. Do not say it. I can't handle it. Really.
Yes.
Did you do?
So yeah. So the upper picture is actually me in Copenhagen because I didn't have a picture of me in Sweden doing it, but I did it in both places. Um, this was a lake, and right off of the lake, off of the docks that you see, there's a sauna, and then you just run to the lake and jump in. I only went up to my like shoulders, but people were actually like doing laps, and I
Oh,
don't know how they did it. It hurt. It was painful.
so you didn't really. Is it supposed to be something good for your health? Is that what it's about?
Yeah, it's supposed to wake you up, be good for your health. Um, but I was thinking, usually they tell you not to go in like a hot tub and then straight to like a pool for like
Right.
heart problems.
Right.
So I guess you have to be careful, but they said it's good for your health.
Wow. I do not think I would ever do that. I do a lot of crazy stuff, but I would never jump into cold water.
I said, hey, I'm only gonna be here once. Why not do it?
Well, that's right. You're intrepid. That's all good. You enjoyed it. I would enjoy the sauna though. I think that would be nice to just stay there.
Yeah, they love their sauna. In almost every hotel, they have a sauna.
Right. And steam room, sauna and steam room, outdoor pool. What's this champagne? Is that at the top?
Oh, I have no idea. That might have just been a bar. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
hmm
Really nice. So you did see a lot of Mason Swedes doing this. Oh,
Yeah, I went to one. It was called Hella's Garden, and it was about a 40-minute bus ride. It was super easy from the center of Stockholm,
mhm.
and most everyone there seemed to be Swedish locals. They all talk Swedish, and it was just like a they were all with their friends.
Yeah.
It was a really community like event. So it was cool to participate in that part of their culture.
Well, you mentioned something there about speaking Swedish. Tell us about that. I clearly did you pick up any Swedish? Did you go with any ready to converse or what?
I just like did a little bit on Duolingo, but that's all I knew.
Huh?
But you really don't need to know any Swedish. Everyone that I talked to knew English. I don't think I met one person that didn't know English, which was
Mm,
just incredible. Because they learned from such an early age. And they didn't mind speaking English. I know in some other countries they would rather speak their own language, but they were eager to speak English. And even if you just said like hello, they're impressed with your Swedish. So you
uh,
don't need to know Swedish.
so it sounds like a rather friendly and welcoming place, right? Hmm.
Yeah, they were super friendly. Although my other volunteers that were from other parts of the country, they said that they thought they were mean. And I was like, wow, I wonder what you think of Americans if I think that they're super friendly and you think that they're mean. So,
You mean from other countries, right?
yeah, like my friend from the Czech Republic said she thought that Swedes were mean, but I thought that they were super friendly. So it was different in culture, I guess.
Yes, it could be. It could be. Or do you think they were treating her differently from you for some reason because
I
they don't
don't think
like you
so.
or something? Okay.
No. Yeah.
Just what she perceives. Well, remember, I lived in the Czech Republic, and it's not that that is a very overflowingly warm and friendly place. They're good people, but they're really more reserved. So I'm surprised that she thought they were me.
Yeah, me too. Mhm. I have a few more photos. This is the Viking Museum. So they have a lot of Viking memorabilia and culture. Since it was where the Vikings were. And the Viking age was like the late 8th to 11th century. So they had a bunch of museums and um, pictures showing what that would look like. And this museum actually had a ride that reminded me like the Chocolate World ride, but it took you through like the Viking age, which was really fun.
But no chocolate at the end. Oh well.
No, I know. I was waiting for my Hershey bar.
You've got something on you.
And this is Vaxholm. Um, Stockholm is made up of a bunch of small islands, and this is one of the islands in the archipelago. And you get to this island by a ferry, which was super cheap. I think it was just $4, and
Mm,
it was about an hour ferry ride. And the island was small. It was a small, like, fishing island. So I was able to basically walk the whole island in like an hour and a half.
mm.
And I saw this beautiful nature, saw ducks. I, of course, got ice cream. This was
Oh, that
lingonberry and honey ice cream. So it had that Swedish lingonberries in it. Um, but it's so easy to get to nature in Stockholm.
well, they obviously value that. But another question you've just raised for me when you said the ferry was $4, what was it like, cost of living wise? I mean, how cheap or expensive was it to be there?
Yeah, so it was pretty expensive. The meals were generally expensive. You usually couldn't find like a lunch under $20,
Ooh,
which was, yeah, it was pretty frustrating and annoying. So I was glad to have that free accommodation. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so the meals were lunch was around like $20, dinner around $30. So I made a lot of my meals in the hostel. There was a kitchen there, which was super
Mm.
nice. And the grocery stores were a little bit more expensive than our grocery stores, but you definitely have to,
Some things are so high here. If they're higher than even here, then they're pretty high. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
I'm not really sure why they're so high. Um,
Taxes.
yeah,
Taxes.
taxes.
Probably
Yeah.
tax. Also, a lot of goods they have are imported, right? But they're part of the EU. But I think it's just that you hit the nail. I mean, when you have such extensive social services, a lot of things are taxed. Income's
Yeah.
taxed, the tax. Yeah, yeah.
hmm
What
Yeah,
about
so
your breakfasts? Were you able to at least have a breakfast there for free? I mean, at the hostel?
yeah, so they gave us they went to the grocery store with us and we were able to get breakfast for free. And there
Mm.
was also a cafe right across the street that they also let us go to for free.
Oh, the cafe. So you could get coffee for free then, or tea.
hmm Yeah.
Okay, good. And what
Yeah.
about those sweet little buns that go on the side of it? Was that, could you do
We could
that?
get those for free. Those were about $5. And the
Okay.
coffee was probably $6 if you wanted a latte, maybe $7. So
Wow.
pretty expensive.
Yes, yes, yes.
hmm
Well,
And those are all my pictures, but if you want more information about Sweden, a great website is this sweden.se website. It has a bunch of information about their history, where to go, like budget information and stuff like that. But feel free to reach out to me as well if you have any questions and put your questions in the chat
yeah.
um,
Yeah,
as
if there are
well.
any questions, but I still have a few questions that because this is seems like such an interesting way to see the world, to experience the world, outside of just going with a tour group, right? I mean, that's one way, but this way you actually got to experience daily life. You worked there, right? You were still able to do some of the tourist things to go to the museums and this. But, I do wonder, what sense did you get really of how Swedes are their how their economy is going? You say it's a happy country, but did you get a sense that they really are happy in Sweden? The reason why I ask you, years ago, I did some stories on Scandinavia, and it said that it had one of the highest rates of youth suicide, and they didn't they credited to the weather sometimes can be very dark and gloomy for long periods, but also to some heavy beer. Now, all of that was 20 years ago. All of that may have been addressed and dealt with. But I'm wondering, what sense did you get of the state of the people, the economy, that kind of thing?
Yeah, in general, I think they had a lot of definitely pride in their country, pride in being Swedish. The one thing I did hear a lot was that it's hard to get a job there,
Mm,
and a lot of them go to other EU countries to find a job. Um, so that's one thing that I heard a lot of people echoing. One of my roommates was trying to get a job in Sweden, and it was really hard to get one, especially as a foreigner, not from the EU, from Quebec. Um, so I think they are definitely having a problem with Swedes going to other countries to get jobs.
well, Sweden is a part of the EU, so I guess they can go very easily. But I guess in all of those countries they have a preference for their own folks, their own, and yeah. Um, but these are highly educated people. I mean, they're well educated, I know, so it must be really difficult for them. What industries did you get a sense were really fueling their economy?
I would say definitely like the food industry for fishing. There is a whole bunch of fishing towns, like the one that I went to. You saw people fishing. There was fishing boat houses.
Hmm.
Um, Other industries, I'm trying to think. I saw a lot of like tech industries. There were a lot of places where people can work like virtually, like a co-working space. So
Hmm.
I think that a lot of people also work virtually, having jobs, virtually in America, as opposed to like in Sweden. So they had a lot of space for that as well. But I think fishing would be their number one.
And the other thing I wondered is, did you get a sense of how they live? I mean, for example, do most people live in small apartments? You know, that like in so many European capitals, or and not like us with these big suburban homes, right? Did you get a sense of what it was like for them to actually what their daily living is like?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people live on the outskirts of Stockholm. I will show you a traditional Scandinavian home.
Mm,
It's just gonna be from Google, but
yeah.
I saw a lot of these.
Uh,
They have these red houses, and I saw them on the outskirts of Stockholm. So I
mhm,
think they're in the countryside, so they grow a lot of their own food as well. Um, but
mhm,
in Stockholm, there were apartments and brownstone houses,
mhm.
but they were pretty nice houses.
Did you get a sense that it is a country that is lots of people and or that they're sparsely populated?
Definitely sparsely populated. I read that the population is only about 10 million. So that's like 13% of the world population, I read. So, definitely sparsely populated. At the top of Sweden in the north, it's very cold. It gets dark super early, dark most of the day in the winter. So a lot of people don't live there, but it's also a big tourist destination to see the Northern Lights,
No.
go
Yes.
bobsledding. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The Northern Lights weren't active when you were there, right?
Not in Sweden, but we did see them. We went to Iceland after, so we saw them in Iceland.
Oh, I bet that was fabulous, huh?
Yeah, you could also, it wasn't that great just seeing the lights with your eyes. You could see them better on your phone, which was
Really,
weird.
really
Yeah.
taking a picture of them?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, it sounds like it was I mean, I just think it's such a creative way to travel. I mean, to do this and to know that there are ways that you can make sure it is safe and that you are really dealing with reputable companies. The young ladies who were there from Czech Republic and from Venezuela, they also found out about it via their schools or from the internet search, or how do people really know about these things? And is there anything that may be kind of ranks them as this one is better than this one?
Yeah, there are different type of apps like this. I did it through World Packers. There's another one called Workaway and another one called Woofing.
Mm,
Woofing is more working on farms and doing like dirty work like
mm,
gardening and stuff. World Packers and Workaway is more working in hostels or volunteer centers.
mhm.
I picked World Packers because just the interface was easier to understand and it was a little bit cheaper. I found it just by doing a quick Google search, what's cheap ways to travel abroad. Um, and a lot of people in Europe use it. So my volunteer friends just knew other people that were doing it as well. So it's definitely I see it rising to become a more popular way to travel.
And just the other question I think that everybody would be wondering, how well did they treat you? I mean, clearly this is Scandinavia, so they probably have a higher what do you call it? Stricter laws for how they treat workers is what I'm thinking. But I'm just wondering if you went somewhere else, would they abuse you and keep you working? But talk about how they actually treated you as a worker.
Yeah, so I worked about 25 hours a week. They said they were super flexible. So if I wanted to work a little bit less, they were flexible with doing that. If I had plans during the day, if I wanted to go to a museum and if the museum closed at 5, I could say, could I get off at 2 o'clock? And they were super flexible with that. So I was really lucky that they were accommodating and they knew that I also wanted to see the city that I was in. I didn't want to just work the whole time. And also, I was doing work for the World Affairs Council as well, and they knew that. So they gave me time to do my work for the World Affairs Council. And on World Packers, if you are having a bad experience, you can leave whenever you want, and you can contact their customer support, which I interacted with before I went, just to make sure that they were okay and they were super responsive and they have a guarantee that they will give you money to get a hotel or another accommodation if it didn't work out. So,
So there is a backup there in case things don't go well for whatever reason. You get there and it's not what you expected, or well, that's great. So it does sound like, is this the first time you've done this, or okay?
yeah, first time.
Yeah. When you've looked and talked to other people, does it vary from country to country, the experience?
Yeah, I think more in like Asian countries or South America, the work is more on farms or helping people like fix up their house or like in
Mm-hmm.
animal sanctuaries. But in the cities, it's mostly hostel work, working in hotels, maybe helping out a small business. And just from like what I heard people say, the ones that you're working in a farm, it's more difficult to go out and explore the country since you don't have, access to public transportation. So that's why I chose to be in a city.
Yeah, well, that does make sense. It does make sense. Well, it sounds like it was a fascinating experience, and we're heading to another fascinating experience for those who follow the World Affairs Council and our travels. Soon, we will be heading to China, and I think our next travel live that you will hear from us will be to talk about our experiences in China. I know you're looking forward to that, right, Mary?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we will be taking a delegation, a group going, and we hope this will be just the start of actually regular exchanges, cultural exchanges, with us inviting and hosting delegations from China to our region, to Harrisburg, and us doing the very same thing, going to different parts of China, because this is not just going to see the sights, but it's really learning something. And we hope to learn about their education system. We hope to learn about what is those business issues between the United States and China. So stay tuned. We will be coming back to you with yet another travel live, and one of the most fascinating places on earth, of course, China. So anything else you want to add, Mary, to this as we sign off?
Don't be afraid to go out there and see new places. Find cheap ways to travel. They're out there. If you have any questions, reach out to me. My email address is marygwalk@gmail.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
And thank you all for joining us. And we just check our websites and check out Facebook page because we will be letting you know when our next travel live is happening. So thank you again, Mary, and good night, everyone. Adios. Or how do you say goodbye in Swedish? Do you know?
Hey doll.
Oh, okay. Hey, doll, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.